Good evening, everybody. Alan Wright is my name, and I'm really excited to welcome you all tonight to the official launch of our new and exciting junior cycle package for first year maths, Discover Maths 1. Written by a team of 4 maths experts with a wealth of experience in various educational settings, including the correcting of state exams. The extensive Discover Maths package includes a student textbook, a free student ebook, free student graph copy, and a teacher resource book, including editable planning documents, fully worked solutions, and something the authors were keen to include, chapter tests with fully worked solutions accessible to teachers only, so tie in perfectly for term exams, and also an extensive bank of EDCO-created digital resources. So without any further ado, I am delighted now to hand you over to one of our authors, Stephanie Mulligan, to begin tonight's webinar. Thank you, Stephanie.
Hello. I'm so sorry for the delay. I was sharing my screen and then I wasn't able to make myself visible. But hello. I'm Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest in our book. And I'm going to show you what it's all about. If you have any questions, please just type them into the chat box and we'll have a little Q&A at the end. So I will share my screen and I've lots of different bits open, so just bear with me while I'm navigating through them. So this is our baby, as I like to call it. I'm just going to maybe briefly introduce you to myself and the team. I'm Stephanie. I've been teaching maths for almost 20 years. Megan, my co-author, is just a couple of years behind that. Have double that on each of us. So the experience that has been brought into the book is far-reaching. It's super diverse. I've taught in private schools, in DESH schools, and community colleges. Megan has also a diverse, we all do, and mostly we love maths, and we love teaching maths. And the aim when we were creating this book has been to try and bring our love of maths, teaching and learning into everything that we've created. So that's us. And I'm going to show you. I'm a little bit nervous in case you haven't noticed. So sorry. We've all put our heart and our soul into this, and that is out there in the world. I just really hope that you guys love it as much as we do. So I'll show you the inside and what it's all about. So I'm just going to briefly scan through the contents. We decided to start with sets because we've kept the unifying strand at the heart of everything. And I'm hopping all over the place, but with the unifying strand, the new introduction of this new unifying strand, obviously we were trying to crack, what is this all about? How do we incorporate it into our teaching? How do we prepare our students for this new style of maths exam? And for me, like a showcase in the unification that's happening in the new style exam is the 2022 question 4. So when I'm showing this student this question to my students, I immediately ask them, and I use this question to explain to them the nature of the unifying strand in the new exam. So my first question to a group of students is always like, what topic do you see when you look at that? And I tend to hear trigonometry first. Now, there is no trig in this, but when they see the triangles and they say trigonometry, I say excellent. your head has gone to trigonometry because there's triangles. What else do you see? And then, someone will say algebra, and I'll say absolutely. Keep going. Can you see any other topics? Then they notice the word perimeter, and they say, oh, area, perimeter, volume, that chapter. Okay. And then I scan, and part C mentions a linear sequence, and I ask, what's this coming from? And they're patterns. And it's like, okay, so there's a minimum of 4 different topics within your maths being examined in this one question. And how do we prepare for that? And I like to remind them always that maths is intertwined in nature. Everything in maths is connected to something else in maths. And I have found that developing with obviously maths has always been like that. But with the introduction of the unifying strand on the new syllabus, I have made a much bigger effort to draw my students' attention to it. I find that I'm now constantly asking them when we're doing trigonometry, for example, and they need to know that 3 angles sum to 180. I'll ask them, where'd you learn about that? And hopefully they tell me most of the time, geometry. And then when they start subbing in values, if they're writing down tan theta equals over A, and then they start subbing in values, I'm like, hang on, this is substitution now. We're working with an equation. What topic is this? And hopefully they're telling me, oh, it's algebra. And I'm like, okay, so yes, we're doing trigonometry. Yes, this is a new topic, but how much new information is really in it? We're revising all of the stuff that you already know. We're reinforcing your prior knowledge. And I have found reminding them of that the whole time has made a really positive impact on their experience of maths. So the introduction of the unifying strand on the junior cycle syllabus, I think, has made me focus more on it with my students, and now they're finding everything, I hope, easier, and they're not getting such a big shock if they see an X thrown into a geometry question. Previously it might have been, oh my God, why is there algebra here? I thought we were doing geometry. Why is there an X in this length and area question? Like, I thought we were finished with algebra. But I have found now that I have been consciously speaking about the interconnected nature of maths and the relationships, and I'm like, here's our old friend, what is it? And they'll say unification, connections, and having them aware of that, I have found, is making the course much more manageable for them. So we've tried to weave that throughout the book, and I'll just show you the 2 main ways that we've done that. So we decided to lead with sets instead of number, because it allows us then in number to say natural numbers are a subset of integers. Natural numbers are the set of whole positive numbers, excluding 0. So, we're using sets language when we're defining the different number sets. So once we designed it this way, I was like, how have I ever taught it any other way? And when we do that, we put a little unification star beside the particular topic, and the unification star we're really hoping will act as a prompt for students to go looking for their prior knowledge. How is this new learning connecting to what I already know? And I'm currently working on a research project with Trinity College in Dublin, and it's focusing on the unifying philosophy. And it's been so interesting. And one of the papers that I was reading recently was talking about how we have a limited capacity in our brains for new knowledge, but we have an unlimited capacity to make connections between things that we already know. And I was like, oh my God, yes, this is the key. This is the key, hopefully, to changing the students' experience of getting a shock when they see topics being mixed up in questions, whether it's in their book or their exercises or tests, or the junior and leaving cert exams. So rather than being shocked, they're expecting it. And not only are they expecting it, they are hopefully aware of how much more accessible that makes maths, how much easier it makes their lives, and not wanting to knock on like history, if there's any maths and history teachers here. But the example I always give them is, if you know the Roman Empire inside out, upside down, and back to front, amazing, and you'll do incredible in the question about the Roman Empire, but it doesn't help you if you have to answer a question on Irish history. Maths, however, keeps paying you back over and over and over again. If you know your algebra inside out, upside down, back to front, that's going to pay you back in all of your other topics. If you know your geometry really well, that'll pay you back when you're doing areas and volumes. It'll pay you back when you're doing trigonometry. So everything that you learn, you're getting this multiplying payback from it, because it's reinforcing stuff you already know. It's acting as revision of earlier content, and it's also setting the foundation to help you understand things that we will come across later. None of it is ever standalone. So anytime that you invest into any topic, you're going to reap the rewards in lots of other topics over and over again. And like I said, I have found that shifting their mindset and making them more aware of that has, I think, improved their experience with maths significantly. And we've tried to weave that through the book. So we're doing sets, number, maths in action. So immediately after we do number, we're then applying their percentages, their ratios, everything to real world questions, and we're doing VAT and discounts and bills and all the rest. Algebra, we've introduced them to algebra very, very early, but in a simple way, and we're making connections. I'll show you the algebra chapter. We're drawing it back to number. So, you know, an apple plus an apple is two apples, an x plus an x is two x's. What are we doing? We're just counting. Maths doesn't change. All of the rules that you use with numbers, you're using with algebra, because x's and y's are just numbers that we don't know the value of yet. So everything, we're constantly referring to the unification. Measurements, distance. I'm not going to go through all of it. I just want to show you the first section. Measurements, distance, speed, and time, perimeter, and area, and we put so much thought, and we changed so many times into the sequence of the topics, thinking about what would benefit the students, what flowed best, and how do we create a flow of topics where we're constantly weaving in prior knowledge and setting them up for later learning. So doing measurements before perimeter and area then allows us to, you know, switch up measurements and be revising earlier content within that chapter. We have another little bit of algebra in here. First one, we're just adding subtraction, substitution. Second one, we're just doing a bit of multiplication. And then the one that I mean, obviously as a team, we're proud of all of it, but the unification one. So we have 3 dedicated unification chapters where there's no new tuition. You can see it here. It's just examples and then revision exercises. And we've created questions that intertwine and interweave all of the chapters prior to that. And we've laid them out and designed them in the same way that the majority of the questions on the new junior cycle maths exam have been laid out and designed. We're trying to mix up as many topics as we can. We've used, you know, the limited number, of course, of State Examinations Commission of the new format as a guide, and tailored them and tweaked them to a first year audience. And we've all trialed these with our students in the classrooms, and it's been so much fun, and the students have like really enjoyed them. And then I tell them, you know, a secret at the end. I'm like, you know, you're doing higher level junior cert standard questions, and my first years are like, oh, what are we? Oh my gosh. And they're so proud of themselves. So yeah, my students and my fellow author students have really, really enjoyed those chapters. And I hope if you decide to use the book that you enjoy them and your students enjoy them as much as we have. So it continues in that format. And I'm just going to also show you the layout for each individual chapter. So the cover page for each chapter looks something like this. They all follow the same format. We're jumping in really quickly. What is a set? A set is a well-defined collection of objects. I have a little sister who's in first year, big family, big age gap. And, you know, I'm regularly asking her, what are you doing in maths? And she's always telling me, oh, I don't know. something with if it's 3 numbers I go up, if it's 2 numbers I go down, and I'm like, okay, you're rounding. But we're trying to, I'm trying hopefully to, negate that as much as possible. And we hope that students are always aware of what it is they're studying. So immediately, what is a set? A set's a well-defined collection of objects, and we've done that in every single chapter. What is arithmetic? Just a quick definition. What is algebra? A quick definition. So immediately it's like, okay, so I know what's coming. We have chapter contents, so it's really visible for you guys as teachers and the students to know exactly what's coming, and how they're going to progress through the chapter. The learning intentions are laid out like this, the same in every chapter. Before you begin, you will need to know, so just a little prior knowledge piece. And then we have this importance of Venn diagrams, importance of arithmetic, importance of algebra. This is Megan's Venn diagram on dolphins and fish, which I absolutely love, and I really hope you do too. We also have a little web link in all of the chapters. Read this article to see more applications of Venn diagrams. So we're constantly trying to reinforce the message that maths is relevant and useful, and it impacts your life in really positive ways, not just in your maths class. It's not just about preparing for an exam. A world without maths would be, we wouldn't have a world without maths. But so the links, we're constantly trying to just make real life examples for them. And then we also have chapter summaries and work solutions links here as well. So the second page then of every chapter is laid out the same way. It looks like this. We have an anticipation exercise. So please read each statement before. Please read each statement below and tick agree or disagree as you feel appropriate. So before the chapter, students just do a quick assessment, and then at the end of the chapter, they're guided to come back to this and see, has there been positive changes? Have you learned something new? What was it? And I've been trialing these for years and years, these anticipation exercises, and like unanimously, the students are always really happy to see, oh my gosh, there has been positive changes in this. Spotlight on mathematicians throughout history. So we've also included this little piece at the beginning of every chapter. We've made the mathematician that we're discussing relevant to the topic. And we have found that has brought, it's injected a huge amount of life into the classroom. It opens up students to, discussing maths and its real world applications and how it was developed. And I've been really pleasantly surprised with how much students end up engaging with that. Every single one of these chapters has been sent out throughout the past 3 to 4 years. Every single one of these chapters has been sent out to a panel of reviewers that was made up of teachers from all over Ireland. If any of you are here tonight, thank you so much for your support and for your feedback. And we absolutely we heard it, and we have interwoven your feedback throughout our book. The response to this one was really, really positive as well. So I'm hoping again that that translates with you and with your students. And then, of course, if you want to skip it, you're welcome to skip it. If you're stuck for time, you don't have to be talking about mathematicians throughout history, but it's there if you had the time and you felt you'd like to use it. I'm never going to try and obviously tell you how to teach. You're all absolute experts. What we've tried to do is give you a menu of resources within the book so that you never have to be going and, looking for extra stuff to keep your students entertained or engaged. And it's absolutely up to you, of course. You can pick and choose which elements of this you like and want to use, and which elements you want to skip and ignore. But we've tried to give you everything that we could think you might want, and everything that the reviewers from all over Ireland that were reviewing it for the past few years, anything that they requested or things that they said they would like to have, we've included we've done our best to give you everything we could possibly think you could need. So just on this, now we're getting into, so those first 2 pages are the same layout, same style. We're given the same resources in every chapter. And then just here, I mean, we've a think, pair, share. So we've also integrated group activities and class exercises throughout the content as well. But at the same time, we're sticking, you know, maths is maths, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. So we're also keeping it very structured and making it hopefully easy for like a clear progression through the learning intentions, while interspersing it with the requirements of the unification strand and the key skills for junior cycle. We've woven them throughout the book, which I really hope might ease your, you know, planning admin end of things, because I mean, we all know that's a nightmare. So we've tried to make the teacher's life easier and the students' experience of maths as enjoyable as we possibly can, while still learning everything that they need to learn. So that's been our predominant goal, and I really, really, really hope that it translates. So I'm just going to scan through this just so you can get a feel for it. We haven't used any highfalutin language anywhere. We all teach 11-year-olds, and we know they don't need it. So even, you know, something as simple as here, the null set, there is absolutely no elements. Zip, zilch, nada, none. A class discussion prompt, again, always up to you whether or not you wanted to use it, but it's there if you needed it or wanted it. Examples are always in blue. These little tuition prompts are always in purple. And then you've got just your, you know, standard exercise, more new tuition, more examples, another exercise. We're constantly, consistently trying to make the topic relevant. So, you know, like this question here about cities in Europe and the images to go in with them. We've woven cartoons and jokes throughout the book just to try and remove the fear of maths and, you know, bridge that gap from their primary school to secondary school experience. Then diagrams. I'm not going to do this with every page. I just want to try and give you a feel for the book and the look and the layout and all the rest. I wish you guys were able to talk to me and tell me if you like it or not. Hopefully you will at the end. Okay. I'm just going to scan a little bit quicker. You know, another class activity. Do you have a dog or a cat? Just always trying to keep them engaged. And making it super, super relevant. There's little remember prompts in the exercises as well. Sometimes we're giving them little hints. And then I'm just going to scroll forward to the, again, real world applications, swimming pools, beaches. Hopefully that'll cheer everybody up on a, you know, rainy September morning, thinking about a swimming pool on the beach. And I'm just going to pause here because I love that image or those images. I'll keep going to the end. I just want to show you what the end of each chapter looks like. Okay, so here we are. Every single chapter finishes with 3 revision exercises. They have been differentiated. They are at 3 different levels. Keeping, you know, the mixed ability classroom in mind the whole time, and also inclusion. Because me and my team and, you know, my friends who are teachers have all had experiences of having to make extra resources for students, you know, on the weaker end, or students with learning difficulties, and also having to make extra resources for students who have just eaten through the chapter. You know, the exercise done in 2 seconds while I'm still, you know, sitting down trying to help somebody with question 1, and then it's like, oh my God, what should they do now? You can't help them move on to the next chapter. Ah! So having experienced that ourselves, we've tried to negate that happening for you guys and us when we are using this book. And since I have started using these chapters and exercises with my own students, I've never had to do that. I'm probably a little bit biased, but I haven't, and neither have any of my team. We've never needed to go find simpler questions or more challenging questions. Everything is within here, I hope. So the revision exercises, and we're not calling them level 1, level 2, level 3, because again, keeping inclusion in mind, and we always, we want everybody to feel they are just as good as anybody else. So we've labeled them cruise control. I'm especially proud of this. Cruise control is the first one. Accelerator is the second one. And turbo, dum dum dum. So I currently teach in an all boys school, and I have 2 different groups of first years this year. They're both mixed ability. And I think it would have been an all boys school. There's that like extra element of competition. I mean, we're all competitive, but I've seen them, been like, oh, I'm on the turbo. And someone else been like, I'm just happy cruising. I like this cruise control. And I love that that's what's happened, because that's what we were trying to achieve, that they're differentiated exercises. There is something for everybody, but there's no stigma around level 1, level 2, level 3. And even just calling it accelerator kind of acts like, a little motivation for them to want to progress, for them to, to create a hunger for more maths and more challenging topics. So it's acted not only as facilitating differentiation and inclusion, but I found it's acted as a huge motivator for them to want to, work harder and do more and progress to the next one. So you've got your 3 anticipation exercises, and then at the end of every chapter, we have just one little page. It's called Just for Fun. And I've given some of these, just for the crack, to my 6 years, and they have loved them just as much as the first years have loved them, which I thought was hilarious. Every one of these has been trialed and tested with students, and the Just for Fun was received really well with students at all levels, and I hope you guys enjoyed them too. They're different. It's just some fun exercise that's applying the knowledge that they've acquired in that book, and then finally, the last page of every chapter wraps up with a reflection exercise. So we have a little traffic light system, skills checklist. So just again, coming back to all of the learning objectives in that chapter. And we're trying to promote students here, to be independent learners and always be assessing their prior knowledge and keeping it whether they do or not, of course, but it's acting there as a promotion of that. And then a plan for improvement. So please state how you intend to keep your green skills green. This is a promise to yourself. For any skill that you ticked amber or red, write a plan on how you're going to get it to green, make a date for it to be completed, tick when achieved. And then we wrap up every chapter with what we are hoping are little motivational quotes. I'm delighted we got to keep Yoda in here. If no mistake you have made, Lucy, and you are a different game you should play. I make mistakes every day when I'm teaching, much to the entertainment of my students. So that's the layout of each of the contextual chapters. I'm just going to show you what I meant earlier about the unification star. So now we're into numbers, number sets and their number lines. We have the unification star here. We have it dispersed like everywhere throughout the book, like I said, to act as a prompt for if you wanted to use it, to ask your students, what's the connection here with what we have already done? And the hope would be that they'll say, oh, it's a natural number set. And then when we get down to the subset image, it's like, oh, okay, we learned about this already in sets, and being able to see the subsets represented in this way, again, reinforcing what they've already know while progressing through new content. So that's the unification star that's been dispersed everywhere. Also, in the examples, we're given little tuition notes, so explaining exactly what's happening, exactly what we're doing. And also, with the examples, we have made sure that there is an example for every type of question in the exercises. I have had parents say to me over the years in parent-teacher meetings, "Oh, I'm trying to help them with their homework. I'm trying, but questions 1 to 6 are fine. And then it gets to question 7. They can't do it. I can't do it. I go looking for an example to show me how to do it. There is no example for that question. And then we're stuck." So we have made it our business that will not happen in this book. So every type of question and every exercise, there is an example that acts as a guide on how to do it. I wish I could see your faces. I hope some of you are nodding going, yeah. I've used every book that's on the market in different schools that I've been in. They all have something that's absolutely excellent, of course, but we've been almost like surgeons here in trying to dissect what's missing, what have we needed while teaching that wasn't provided in each of these books, and then we've aimed to fill that gap, as well as, of course, addressing the new syllabus, which I don't think any book on the market currently is. I don't think there's any book that's delivering the unifying strand in this really easy to understand help way, and prepare students from really early on to the new style of questions. So yeah, if you've had any pains, with other books, we have too. And like we said, we put it out to review. We got feedback from all over Ireland. Feedback was heard, and we have really, really, really tried our best to help with all of those things. So unification star here again in the exercise. Explain what type of number is also an integer, and give 3 examples of numbers that are elements of the integer number set. So yes, we're in the number chapter, but we're using all of your sets vocabulary here. I'm going to just show you the algebra chapter very, very quickly, and then show you one of the standalone unification chapters, and then I think I'll wrap it up with that, and allow you. I have to show you this one. I'll give you a moment to read and lol. There's a maths joke in every chapter. Some of them are so cringy, but the students have loved them. Teresa's grandson, when he was trialing all of the chapters for her, she told me he couldn't wait to find the joke. He was hunting the maths joke. He would arrive to do his questions and be like, "Yes, I found the maths joke." So yeah, we're just maths is meant to be fun, and we're pulling out all the stops to try and achieve that, while still, of course, getting all the work done. So I am this guy on page 41. I robbed him from a group of first years I had years and years and years ago. It's how they remembered the multiplication of science. So I can't take credit for him, but I do think he's very cute. I'm sure they've given him different names over the years. One group of students called him, the dead man, draw the dead man, and it reminds you. I'm sure some of you have all seen it before as well. And sorry, I'm very excited now, as you can tell. I want to show you everything. Well, I'll just stick to a highlight reel. I'm looking for another little joke in there for you. What you call numbers that are always on the move? Roman numerals. I know I'm ridiculous, gigantic nerd, but that's okay. I'm proud of it. So again, this is in the second chapter, accelerator exercise. Sorry, cruise control, accelerator, and turbo. So I'm going to scoot over to algebra, then show you the standalone unification. So like I said, we've brought algebra into it very, very early on, with the logic that they're less scared when they're young, and hopefully the earlier we expose them to it, the less fear they'll have. So just immediately remove the fear from algebra. I love that guy. I'm always telling them algebra is like brain exercise. And love this little piece that was Brendan's piece on Mariam. And when we're doing the mathematicians throughout history, we've also tried where possible to include quotes from them. So Mariam's, you have to spend some energy and effort to see the beauty of maths. And the more time I spend on maths, the more excited I got, which I love. And I'm always hoping my students eventually see too. So with algebra, we've given them a glossary. So algebraic notation and terminology, I call this with my students the algebra dictionary. I have had 6 years come to me. I've inherited 6 years many times over the years, and I say the word coefficient and they go, what? So what's a constant? What's a variable? We all know they've heard it 100,000 times. But by having an algebra dictionary, I'm hoping it'll cement the vocab a little bit more for them. And this, I just want to show you. Adding and subtracting algebraic terms, because it's the one that I mentioned earlier. So a number example, a corresponding algebra example, and then the unification star to, just reinforce the awareness that all they're doing is connecting stuff that they already know in a new setting. We're simply counting. The logic we apply to numbers is the same as the logic for algebra, as x's and y's are numbers. Are we unifying our mathematical skills here? We ask them this regularly, with the hope that the answer will be yes, over and over and over again. So just constant reinforcement of connections and unifications. So there's no shock when they get to do exam questions. So just one more little piece from this I want to show you. These algebraic pyramids, I mean, we've all seen them before, of course, they're in most books. We've just given them a lot more of them because it doesn't feel so maxy. It's when it's, I think, in this setting. Forming algebraic expressions, which we all know they absolutely hate. Again, we've tried to make it as simple and easy as possible, and it's acting almost like a dictionary. Number example, algebra example, 3 more than 5 is 3 plus 5. 3 more than x is 3 plus x. 3 2's, 3 times 2. 3 x's, 3 times x. So again, it's the same, it's the same, it's the same, it's all the same. Maths doesn't change. Yeah. So anyway, I really hope you're liking what you see. I can't wait to hear some feedback at the end. And again, just little prompts and questions in terms of x means there should be an x in your answer. Again, I've had senior cycle students and they read an exam question that says, give your answer in terms of x, and they're like, what? Am I finding x? So yeah, like I said, mine and my co-author teams gripes and experiences of the difficulties in the classroom with teaching maths have been woven through this, and I'm really hoping that if you choose to use it or choose to flick through it, that it will make you smile and be like, oh, okay, these people have had the same experiences that we have and are trying to fix it. So oh yeah, and I mean, I love this guy too. So yeah, like I said, maths joke in every chapter, sometimes two, because we had way too much fun looking for maths jokes. More are absolutely welcome if you'd like to provide them in the chat. And the unification, the standalone unification chapter is the last thing I'm going to show you, and then I'll stop because I would talk about this all night. Dum 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 dum. Just a little Python there for pi. And one more. Oh, sorry, I can't help myself. I'm sure you've all seen that one before. I love that one. Find X. There it is. Okay. Again, explanations of every line of these solutions. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? And then the unification star appearing again, as always. So what I'm hoping is the piece de resistance, unification one. There are 3 of these. So there's 17 chapters altogether, but 3 of them are like this one. Unification 1, 2, and 3. They're dispersed a third of the way, 2/3 of the way, and then at the end of the book. If you're tight for time, you can of course skip these. So there's actually only 14 contextual tuition chapters, and then the 3 unifying ones are weaving all of their prior knowledge together. They could be used as revisions. You could use them. I mean, you could nip in and out of them if you wanted to throughout. You can, again, those students that wanted to fly ahead, go to chapter 8, try the unification questions. And great prep, I have found great prep ahead of a big test, like a Christmas test, or I'm with my first years now, I'm getting them to do most of these unification questions and then tailoring them, of course, to different students because we've given the differentiated levels ahead of their summer exam, and they're just tipping away at them. And not only are they doing questions that are in the style of the new junior cycle maths exam, it's all reinforcement, it's all revision, it's all connections, it's all unification. I just want to point out, because I'm very proud of this as well. So the unification star that we sprinkled throughout the chapter is now at the center of this jigsaw circle image that we created to represent the unifying strand. And then gets better. This was Megan's idea. Every page of this chapter is bordered with stars. And then the colors, I almost forgot the colors. Every chapter has been color coded to match the strand on the syllabus. Oh, I've lost. Hang on, I've lost. Have I lost it? No, I haven't. Here we go. Yeah, so I mean, crazy levels of attention to detail have gone into this. So this is the syllabus document and the new specification. So they have number in green. Any chapter that we have in this book that is part of the number strand is green. Its border is green theme. All of the chapters that are part of the algebra and function strand, blue theme, blue ribbon, blue border. And then when we get to the unification chapters, sorry, it's a rainbow. It's all mixed up. Anyway, so unification chapters, like I said earlier, the front page and the front page is the same. What is unification? To unificate. I need to calm down. To unify means to bring together or unite. Unification in maths means using a variety of skills from multiple topics to solve a single interconnected question. Learning intentions are to combine a variety of skills obtained in previous chapters and apply your combined skills to real world problem solving. The importance of unification, and then we go straight into examples. so, this question here, which is normally stuck at, the end of an algebra chapter, it's in unification because it is combining skills. Yes, you're doing perimeter, but now you're mixing algebra and perimeter, and we're asking the question, what topics did you unify to complete this question? And this provided answer was perimeter, algebra, and number. My students have come up with their own ones, things that I wouldn't have thought of myself, and I've enjoyed that so much. I'll give you an incredible example of something one of my first years said to me last week. In a minute, I just want to show you what these look like first. So example 3, we've areas, we're bringing percentages into it, we're bringing ratios into this one as well. Again, length and algebra. Another little sneaky joke for you. Sets and algebra. So we were mindful we did sets first. In the algebra chapter, we didn't bring in any Venn diagrams. And now here we're intertwining the sets and the algebra. In a dedicated chapter where they're very, very aware that they're mixing skills. So after the examples in the 3 standalone unification chapters, after the examples, we just go straight into exercises at the 3 levels: cruise control, accelerator, and turbo. I want just to find one of these in particular to show you. And then wraps up with a quote, as always. The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways, which is obviously the goal of what we're always trying to do in our math classes. I'm gonna go to the last unification chapter. I'll finish with this. Okay, so the last unification chapter essentially acts as a revision of everything in the whole book. And this question. So I used a past junior cycle exam question, and I tweaked it to make it appropriate for first years, and I added an extra layer of unification into it. So with this one, of course, we've got sets and statistics. We're also bringing percentages and probability into it. I recently gave this to a group of first year students. I snipped the example out so they couldn't see the solution, and I just gave it to them. We were doing statistics. We were about to start stem and leaf, and I just gave them this as a little challenge at the beginning of the class because the hope was the horizontal bar chart in the stem and leaf, that they would make some connections there. When they got everybody, by the way, every student in the class was able to do this question. And I was really, really proud of that because the group that I gave it to, there are students in that group with SNAs, there are students on the spectrum. Every one of them was able to achieve this. And for me, I mean, I got very emotional. But the magic for me was with the last part of this, what topics are you unifying to solve this question? One student put up his hand and he said, Miss, this might sound like a really silly answer, but I felt like a detective. Now, I nearly fell over where I was standing. I said, that's not a silly answer. That's an excellent answer. Go deeper. Tell me what you mean. And he said, well, I was investigating. Like I was investigating the information to try and figure things out. So I felt a bit like a detective. And, then the other boys started chiming in, but like, me too. I felt like a detective. And I could have never saw that coming. And I was obviously delighted. And I really, really hope that your experience of this book is as positive as it has been for our students. I hope you like it and maybe even love it as much as we do, and I hope you can feel the love and thought and consideration that was put into it for both you and your students. I'm going to stop there because, like I said, I'll go on all night. Harry, and thank you so much for your time. Like, I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Stephanie. Goodbye. Good night. No, there's questions.
Thank you, Stephanie. Really appreciate that. And obviously, thank you to all of the attendees as well. Just wanted to pass on some of the remarks that came through, Stephanie, and obviously for the wider group of attendees as well. Most of the notifications are through in relation to yourself, Stephanie, just to say in praise of yourself and your enthusiasm. We've a couple here. Looks great. Looks fantastic. Can't wait to get the book. They're just three of the really positive remarks coming through from some of the attendees this evening. And just on that note, just from ourselves at EdCode, to make everybody aware, the printed samples of Discover Maths are now available. They just landed into our warehouse yesterday. So there will be samples going out to all of the attendees this evening. And then if indeed any of your colleagues are looking for samples, we can arrange those over the coming days as well. Conscious that that you'd all, I'm sure, like to get your hands on and review at this point. We did just have a couple of questions I might just pose to Stephanie, if that's okay, as well as obviously the positive remarks. There were one or two pointed questions, if I may, Stephanie. Just the first one there, why did you feel that you needed to publish a new maths book for the market? One.
So I was sick of having to always make extra resources. And I found a lot of my colleagues were as well. But obviously the big motivator, I mean, it's been a dream of mine since as long as I can remember to be able to do this. And thank you so much to EdCode for the opportunity. But with the introduction of the unifying strand, and when they changed the exam, they changed the style of the exam, the layout of the exam in 2020, I was scrambling to get my hands on questions that would prepare students for this, and there just weren't any that I could find anyway. And the team, I'm so blessed with my co-author team. They're incredible. We all worked really, really hard to try and create questions that addressed the new syllabus. And
Great.
Yeah, well, we felt we needed it. What we had wasn't working for us in the classroom. So we felt we needed something new. We chatted to our pals, and they felt hungry for something new too. So yeah, that's why.
Okay, very, very good. Thanks, Stephanie. And I have one here from Amanda. I hope I can read this out correctly. With the 3 dedicated unification chapters, would you use them as standalone chapters, or dip in and out of them, or use them as revision?
Whatever you like, Amanda.
Okay.
Completely at your prerogative, and you can try the different ways and see what suits you and your students best. I've done both. I've done all of those. I have nipped in, and if a question that was in the unifying chapter, like I said with that one, when I was doing statistics with my first years and we were about to throw stem and leaf, I pulled that question from the 3rd unification chapter just to give it to them as an open and challenge for the class. And I'm getting them to do the unification questions bit by bit in preparation for their summer exam. It's acting as revision, but also there was a week in the year where I just let them practice questions from the unifying chapter. So I've used it all 3 ways, and you do whatever you want with them.
Very good, Stephanie. Thank you. And I just conscious of everybody's time, but there are a number of questions. I can see the questions coming in as you're answering them, Stephanie, as well. But what we'll do, I've one more that I may ask you before we finish the webinar session. But just for everybody else's benefit, any questions that you have asked that we may not have actually got to during this Q&A session, we will respond by email to any questions that we don't get to answer through yourself at this moment, Stephanie. But just one final one there, just before we close off, maybe. Is the book laid out sequentially, as in starting with chapter 1, then moving to 2 and 3, etc., as the year goes on, using the skills attained in the previous chapter?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. And I was trying to flick back to contents there to show you, but yes, so we put a huge amount of thought into the sequence, and have laid it out in a way that hopefully allows for that constant progression, constant connection, constant unification, and then building on prior knowledge. So, yeah.
Great. Brilliant, Stephanie. Thank you. Well, look, I suppose all that's left of me now is to extend a big thank you, obviously, to Stephanie for coming on and hosting the webinar this evening, and obviously to the extended Discover Maths team for what I believe is a fantastic production, and hopefully all of the attendees this evening, who we very much are grateful to for attending and giving up your time to listen in to what we had on display this evening. Hopefully you've seen something of interest to ignite a little bit of interest in looking at the book in printed format, which, as I said, will be in your school in the coming days. And then please God, if you like what you see there, which hopefully we're sure you will, that you spread the word then among your peers and your colleagues. And if any of our rep team can be of any assistance whatsoever, please do let us know. And again, a big thank you to you all for giving up your time this evening. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.